Going
Do I
live.
say it? Going live. Was I on time with my tune?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think so.
that's good. Oh yeah, I was, because I just heard myself as I found it.
Well, there you are then. Well, I've managed to house the chaos to an extent.
How have you been painting?
I haven't today, no. I did the shopping this morning and then I had jobs to do and then prep for a 2-hour meeting that I've just been in. And then time to make a brew, have a pee,
Yeah.
get a gin.
I actually have today, I have a vodka, lime and lemonade.
Oh, nice. I've got gin and tonic in a famous grouse glass.
Oh, very nice. It's a bit more posh than your beaker.
Yeah, I found one that didn't look like it would be toppled over easily. That's
Excellent. It does look sturdy.
the main reason that I'm not trusted with such things. So yeah, if you
Well,
could see behind the sofa, sort of 6 inches below the top of the sofa, the wall is bare back to the plaster, and it's been scrubbed clean where I found the damp, and it's been sprayed with a treatment 5 or 6 times now. And then tomorrow I'll probably do the actual painting of the damp-proof paint. And then sometime over the weekend I'll have to repaper the wall. I don't know whether to go just up to the straight line that I cut with a straight edge.
Well, it's okay to use it.
Well, it's always got the sofa in front of it, and it's a difficult room to have another layout because that wall that way isn't long enough to put the sofa because there's a doorway into the.
Could you go for a contrast?
I could, but I'm not sure I could be bothered to do the rest of the room, to be honest. I've got some black and silver damask paper that's heavyweight, very expensive stuff that's on the chimney breast. I suppose I could do that and put a border on. But given that it's got to be behind the sofa.
It seems like a lot for no reason.
Yeah, I'm just glad really that I had an issue with the power cable that caused me to pull the sofa out and go, ooh, I don't like the look of that.
Sometimes you just don't know there's an issue though, do you?
Mm.
I had that when we had one of the storms earlier in the year. It turned out that I got a loose tile, and it didn't happen during that storm because that was literally just rain. It must have happened in one of the earlier ones.
But
when
you
it was
only saw it because of the water getting in.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing, isn't it? So I'm treating it as a blessing in disguise. I did my click and collect order at Tesco's this morning. So
how did that go?
Big shout out to Tesco's at Barrow. Exceptionally efficient. Within seconds of arriving, somebody came out to take my name, ask my order number, disappeared. And within a couple of minutes, my order was brought to the car on a trolley. Everything was in bags. I just had to lift the bags into the car and put the trolley of these stacking crates over by the wall before I left. And then someone came out to ask if everything was okay. The only thing that they didn't have was I'd ordered wonky potatoes and they didn't have them. And because I hadn't ticked the box for substitutions, because I was thinking surely they'll just know to swap potatoes, won't they? And someone else was complaining earlier in the week that they'd got their order and they'd substituted nearly everything.
Right.
She's not actually shopping for herself. She's shopping for elderly people who are really quite fussy about what they get.
Yeah.
So I think 2 pieces of work there. One is to educate people about if you're not doing the shopping, you get what you get, because it's what's out there, and nobody's got the time to do 5 different shops just because you only like this particular brand of something. Or if nobody's got it, it's half a day somebody's time wasted.
Yeah.
So there's that discussion needs to be had. But I suppose the other thing is, rather than just not put no substitutions, put a reason. Because on all of my lactose-free stuff, I put, I am violently allergic to soya. I can't eat this, I can't eat that. It must be lactose-free. And everything was fine. So I think if you give them a valid reason they're then not going to swap it for something else just because they're either too busy or whatever, or can't perhaps find it where they thought it was. Then it's less likely to happen. But I have to say, extremely efficient and very quick. And I arrived at Aldi after that because my friend Denise had asked me to pick up those little teensy cans of tonic water, which her husband's decided he absolutely loves. So I got some boxes of those for her, and I was in and out of Aldi in 10 minutes. There were more people, but everybody observed the social distancing. There was no tutting or silliness. And they were sensible about queuing.
Yeah.
No, they didn't just sort of stand in the corner and look. The first person in the queue would sort of wander across to the end of a checkout and stand 2 meters back from that while somebody packed. So there was always someone waiting to go onto the conveyor. And so yeah, it was very, very efficient. I was impressed.
Brilliant.
But it was chilly.
Oh, it's been freezing the last few days, hasn't it? Well, since Sunday. It was gorgeous on Saturday, boiling hot, and then it's just turned freezing cold.
And I did have someone ask me why I was wearing a mask.
Right.
And I said, because I respect your right to live. And that seemed to be the end of the conversation. So
I like it.
Well, yeah, it's not to protect me.
No, it's to protect everyone else, isn't it? I took one with me on Tuesday when I went shopping, but nobody was wearing one, and I felt a bit silly, so I didn't put it on.
I've been wearing mine for weeks. I'm not bothered what they think.
Well, I went to a different one on Tuesday night. I went to still Morrison's, but a different Morrison's.
Was it better?
And it was better. Definitely less people, but it's a smaller Morrison's. It's going to sound really awful. I always say that, don't I? But you can tell that it's a nicer area because there was no pound coin thing on the trolleys.
Right.
They trust you to take them and put them back again when you're finished.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and it was set up. It was fine. The only issue I would say is that they definitely had more gaps on their shelves than the other Morrison's did.
Is that because it's a busier one?
I think it's just because it's a smaller one, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Less staff, so they weren't able to keep restocking the shelves as quickly. They seem to have quite a lot of young people in. There were a few people in restocking the shelves while they were open.
Right.
They seem, like Callum and Jake's age sort of thing. So it was fine. And but next week I'm going to try. I found a Sainsbury's right next to a B&M, and they're both open like late at night. So I think I might go and try a B&M and get some bits and bobs in there for the kids and see if I can try and cut my costs down a bit, because I seem to be spending a fortune on things like crisps and stuff for the kids. Again, they had no ready salted crisps. They only like ready salted and cheese and onion. So I tend to buy the multi-pack 6, but of one flavour rather than the mixed ones. And the only plain crisps I could get were the branded ones. Whereas in the other Morrison's, I'd been able to get hold of them. So I'm going to go and see what B&M's like and go into Sainsbury's afterwards.
Oh, well.
Just have an exhibition.
Well, you might be interested to have a look at one or two finds.
Oh.
Came across. So this is Alice Starmore. I don't know.
Is this when you had your house in disarray?
It is. It's the Celtic Collection, 25 knitwear designs for men and women. And it's a lot of fancy fair oil and cables and such. Absolutely stunning book. I'll just show. It's very of its age.
Oh wow!
If you look at the style,
is that like knitted flat, or is that in the round? Do you know?
It's Rowan, so it's
flat.
Probably worked flat. Throw that over there. This one, I've actually got another copy of this.
Oh, so like Gansies.
Yeah.
Lovely.
another Alice Starman. I think that was nice and simple, but again, you can tell it the era
Yeah.
because of how boxy it is and shapeless. It's got kind of an Art Deco fan design on it and things like that. I mean, they're lovely books just to have around. And then I had to laugh at this one because of the colours.
Oh wow.
How 80s is that? It's made me think of Benetton.
Well, you could do one now in your nice rainbow colours.
Good, but I thought that was fun.
Oh wow, that is brilliant.
And licorice all sorts. Poof.
It's the only kind of licorice all sorts I would like.
Yeah, I'm not.
Can't stand the things.
I don't mind the aniseedy ones, but I hate licorice. What else is there in this one? There was some quite interesting things like lacy edgings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
That was quite good. And I quite like the rather technical
Oh wow.
design on the back.
That looks like one you'd have to concentrate on.
Bobbles and travelling stitches. And then there's this one which just screams Diana, Princess of Wales.
Doesn't it just?
See if I can open it. Oh, and this was previously owned by a good friend of ours in the village, Marion Salway, who sadly died a few years ago. She was at the swimming pool with the children doing a swimming lesson, helped out at school, and had a stroke.
Oh, that's sad.
And just instantly gone. But I thought you'd like to see that one because I'm
oh, I love it
tonight. And it's got embroidery on as well, which I know you'll love. But I thought you need to make this for when Phil comes home, because what a sexy beast you'll look in that.
With a pair of hot pants, like the Kylie Gold pants.
Yeah, and I don't think that your hair will be curly enough to go with this 80s look. So I think you may have to have the frizz perm.
Or I could rag roll it at a push. We used to do that in the 80s when we, when we couldn't get a perm because our mums wouldn't let us. Oh, wow.
And things like that. Yeah, so lots of fun stuff.
Helen says she's got the Fisherman's Sweaters book.
It's a lovely book, actually. I've got 2 of those now. So this is The Art of Knitting. And on the back, a man's sweater based on an 18th century carpet from Alsace.
I was going to say, it looks like, the Bayeux tapestry or something, doesn't it?
Yeah. Basically, they've put him in a rug. Bless him.
Well, that makes a change to him having one on his chest like they used to in the 70s. Bless them.
Well, yeah. Let me see if I can find any actual knitwear. A lot of this is about the history of it, but I thought you might like this for summer. You could go running in.
Wow. I don't think a halter neck does me any good because I am a bit busty.
Oh, right. And I was thinking more along the lines of nice shoulders, show them off, show them off.
I don't know. I've got bingo wings. I mean, look at the flap.
And this was definitely one of Marion's. It's the Sasha Kagan sweater book. How 80s is that?
It's like, do you remember those Tutti Frutti sweets?
And this just sums Marion up completely. She's done her colours on a little embroidery card with all the colour names.
Love it.
Now, this must be from a finished one because it's in the front. But as I go further through the book...
Yeah. I'm excited. Come on.
Move the keyboard.
Attention.
This.
Oh my good. Oh, look at that belt with a little pocket on it and everything.
And then there's the colour scheme. Can you see the colour that she's chosen and all the colour names?
You know what? I quite like those colours.
They are beautiful colours. There's 1 or 2 in the book. I'll find another one. So there's notes about people's measurements.
Oh, wow. Put a little post-it on there.
Yeah, and then these are the colours. So they're more or less as per the picture.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting.
Did she work in the pharmaceutical industry by any chance?
I don't know what she was.
Because my friend used to, and he used to have loads of those post-its with brand names of different medicines on them.
So now we've got knitting in vogue, and this is patterns from the 1930s to the 1980s to knit now. Now,
Oh,
this
wow.
is how I used to have my hair.
Oh, I love it. That's definitely a Diana hairdo, that, isn't it?
It's very wavy like mine. She probably had to have it permed to do that. Again, this is another little treasure from Marion, but look at that.
Oh, I love it.
Lady lounging around. See what other things we. Oh, that's definitely a Diana pose, isn't
That is Diana, yeah. Everybody wanted to be Diana at that point, didn't they?
Yeah, possibly even the Queen, bless her.
Yeah.
What else can we? Oh, yeah, a bit of glitter and a bit of mohair.
Yeah, but look, those sleeves are the kind that were quite big and loose, and then they just suddenly go tight at the cuff.
Yeah, and I quite like this one. This is from 1935, but it's quite.
I really like that.
I love this pattern, and I like the point on the collar.
Do you know, that'd look absolutely gorgeous with a pair
Okay.
of high-waisted, super skinny jeans.
Yes, possibly on someone without a tummy. So I'll be skipping that one, but it is a beauty. And I thought this one was quite nice. I don't know if I would have to buy the skinny belt. Can you see the skinny belt?
Yeah, I don't think it needs the belt.
Yeah, possibly over-egging the pudding there.
Yeah.
Short sweater. Oh goodness, 1961. Oh, I think I've shown you that one. Have you seen that one?
I'm not sure. It looks a bit like the other one, but not quite.
Yeah, little hearts. And I mean, the posing of all of this is ridiculous, isn't it? And I quite like that buttermilk yellow on here. That looks nice. Oh, you've seen the 3-colour stripes. Plaid. Oh, in case you want to go and play golf or something. You could go with Phil on his golf week.
I was just about to say, I think I should wear that because even if I'm not on the golf course, I'm sure it'd make me look a lot more attractive to my husband.
And knitted gardens. Can you see this? So anybody who needs to prune their bush.
Is that a bed?
Lots of lovely ideas. It's a bed cover.
And a pillowcase?
Yes.
I love it.
Isn't it marvellous? And look at these. Knitted leeks and vegetables in
They got any aubergines?
I hope not. Here, and there's the full picture.
Wow.
Isn't that marvellous?
I don't think much of that as a guest room. You might get a bit cold in the night. It looks a bit drafty.
Oh, well, there's quite a pretty little cushion for those seeking a smaller project.
What would be really creepy is if suddenly you saw a face appear at that window.
Yeah, I think there's probably a film on Talking Pictures like that completely freaks me out. I quite like the greenhouse. I think there.
Oh wow!
Isn't that?
I love the little sack next to it.
It's the little details that I think are really quite sweet. He's even got a little squiggle.
Is that Father? What did they call him? Brother Tuck? What was he called?
Are you thinking Friar Tuck?
Friar Tuck. That's him.
I don't know if this is meant to be St. Francis of Assisi, who was very popular. Oh, it just says the gardening friar, and he has got a bowl patch, and he's got beehives and all things like that. I'll try and see that picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh, amazing, isn't it?
Down the bottom.
Yeah, cabbages of all different colours. There's some carrots. There's some leeks. There's a basket of vegetables. I mean, they're just amazing. I don't know whether Marion actually made any of this stuff or whether it was
It would be amazing.
Now, this definitely comes under the category of I saw this and thought of you.
I'm nervous.
I'm thinking,
Which one?
well, I mean, either or would be really good. You're not totally in love.
I especially love the hats.
And I quite like the
look at those
headbands.
stands.
Yeah, I think you could really rock those.
Well, yeah, they'd look perfect around there, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Hang on. I haven't got anything that I could pretend.
So, and there's these as well.
Oh, the blue. That is terrific. That reminds me of
I love the little hat. So
it's like some kind of national costume or something, that one.
It probably is, and it tells you
Like
in each
Moroccan or
chapter
something.
where the inspiration came from. And you've got stuff like this with you.
Oh, that's Aborigine, isn't it?
Little indigenous man and snakies and whatnot.
Mum says hello.
The photographs do laugh though.
Look at those shoulders.
And how blokey are those women? Look at those jawlines. They look like desperate down.
Yeah. It just goes to show, they say when you're submitting to magazines that you don't need to be good at drawing.
Yeah, or for books either. I mean, there's quite a lot of inspiration stuff in here, and what prompted her to do it all. So if you see it in your library, or I think.
So have you been sat there looking at that for hours? Because that would be one big rabbit hole to fall down.
I haven't. I literally cleaned them off,
right,
dried them, put them in a pile in the corner and left them because I was so busy with other stuff, and then picked them up and thought I am going to put them on the sofa for tonight, and then I don't forget to show everybody.
So
now this is probably a little bit more me. It's still boxy, but I like Jean Moss because she tends to go with classic lines and just adds interesting embellishments. And I don't do boxy, and there is a lot of boxy in this.
I think the 80s were just oversized, weren't they, really?
Yeah, but I thought the fluting on the hem on that was pretty, and the embroidery
flowers.
Nice. And you could do that on another style that perhaps suited you better if that was more your thing. But she gives you the charts for the embroidery as well as the actual colour work. So you could do that in colour work or embroidered, which I quite liked.
Beautiful.
And I thought that was pretty, very summery.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The skirt has got a tie front, and it sort of pleats and gathers upwards. No good for those of us with a tummy, but anybody with a flat tum would look amazing. And I thought that was very pretty. Can you see the lace details?
Yeah, it's like a camisole, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, Chantilly it's called, obviously.
As in Chantilly lace.
Now there's a bookmark here, so obviously making at some point this design called Charleston. Let me see if I can find the big picture for you. Possibly for one of her daughters.
Well, that's nice. I like that.
I think it's really pretty and it's a very nice fit. I would have less ribbing, longer body. But I like the sleeve shaping and I like the embroidery on that.
I'm not a fan of the big, deep ribbing on the body.
All charted.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's gorgeous.
And there's a full schematic with all of these, which I like. I thought that was interesting, just use of colour and
nice long line cardigan. I like a long cardigan.
Yeah, Helen likes sort of long line and kind of boxy, doesn't she? And I thought that was very of the time, that kind of square.
Yeah, I like that. I'll wear that.
Sleeves,
with hem jeans.
Pretty lace and a little bit of cables. Styled for tennis. Blue jumper. That I thought was quite interesting. I quite like the high neck, although I don't generally wear a high neck. I like how it
Yeah.
worked with the design.
Is it a jumper or cardigan?
It's a cardigan. It's called
Right.
Princeton, and there looks to be about 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 colours in the colour work. And again, all charted. Another embroidered one, another lacy thing. Oh, I thought that was nicely styled with the cloth.
Oh yeah, that's nice. I'd want to make the cloche.
Yeah, no pattern for that, sadly.
Oh.
But it's a sort of very simple stockinette with diamonds and a little bit of cable filling in the diamonds. And interestingly enough, someone has charted it out herself on a piece of
Wow.
graph paper, so has probably made it. That to me, I like the stripes and the colours, but
Oh yeah.
she's a beautiful slim girl and she looks like a fat sack in it.
That's the problem with oversized. Even the skinniest of people look bigger than they are in them. You need a bit of shape in, really, I suppose.
And she's put some marks on this one as well.
Like a jacket, it's nice.
Yeah, it's got some cables on it and it's got some I-cord trim around the outside in a grey and on the pockets, which I thought was very, very pretty. Again, she seems to have charted something from this, but I thought that was quite interesting where it shows you, can you see the detail?
Oh, it's like a cable on the pocket.
It's all the way up the design.
Right.
So it stops for the pocket and then obviously you take your stitches off and then have a lining and work up from that. Very, very pretty. There's a couple of boxy sort of oversized sweaters. This is actually, I think, a cardigan. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. It looks
Like
like
a neck.
Yeah.
I think it's a jumper, isn't it?
I think it is. I think there's just the way that one of the cables is sitting is it looks like a seam, but it probably isn't. And that one's got leather elbow patches, so you can protect the fester. Oh, and here we go on that theme of glasses to look clever.
Do you know what? That is the Dowager Countess in her younger years.
Yeah, I quite like the design of that one. I can absolutely see you in this, and in particular the hat.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, you could probably have that rattled off by tomorrow afternoon. In fact, next time we go live, you could be wearing that.
I could.
Because it just doesn't look complicated.
Oh, but unfortunately, I don't have the right yarn, so.
Oh, and it's important to get the exact right yarn.
Yeah.
No, I really thought this was pretty, and then I looked at the name. So, can you see how pretty that is with the colour?
Oh, yeah. So it's got colour work on the body and cabling on the sleeves.
That's right. And the cabling is also on the rib at the bottom. It's called Hurlingham. Yeah.
Unfortunate name. Yeah. Mind you, I don't suppose it was called hurling in those days, was it? In the 80s?
No, probably Bath or something like
More
that.
Bath or Chuck.
I thought that was quite pretty.
Yeah, that's sort of like a 1940s style, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although the arms are a bit gappy for me, I think.
I'd want to add a longer sleeve on top of that, so it wouldn't really
hashtag sleeve gate.
That it was gappy. Yeah, we would end up with sleeve gate, and then there's this sort of standard kind of
yoky type. It's nice.
I can see Queenie in that, you know.
I can see Queenie in that. It's definitely a Queenie, and it's a Queenie palette as well.
And then I found the Country Diary book of knitting. You remember the Country Diary of an Edwardian lady?
Oh, is it like an English country garden diary?
And this has obviously been photocopied at some point,
so that we can write
measurements for Joshua here for a sweater called Song Thrush and Young. I'll see if I can get it.
Oh wow! So that's the same pattern, the same jumper for a
The
child?
men's, ladies, and children's, yeah.
Love it.
And it's a nice sort of basket weave. Be a nice, easy one to do. And then there's some fun little jumpers. I'll show you the charts rather than.
Oh, look, there's a rabbit. And what's that? Is that a mouse?
It is a mouse. It's a mouse's bum. And there's a little hodgy egg
Oh, I love it.
on this one.
Oh, has that got like a sticky out tail thing on there?
The mouse has, yeah.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
and they put a pom-pom on the bunny's bum, and there's a lovely cable sweater, his and hers. And
Oh, I think Yvonne should do that for her and the other half.
The children's one. Have I put my volume on, or have you done it?
I don't know what.
There's just getting some feedback. Anyway, there's a child's sweater and helmet and a toy lamb in loop stitch. There's a better picture.
Oh,
Look at the face on that little lammy.
I want that teddy.
Dogs. I thought that was quite nicely styled. I love the teal with the mustard
Orange.
colour.
Neat colour. It's a nice autumn ensemble.
Yeah, and it's quite thick yarn by the look of it. There's more sort of children's things. I mean, they're very sort of
the old Russian princesses in that picture.
Yeah, there's a fleefy one.
Oh.
Yeah, not if you've got a fear of mohair. So once we get into summer, there's lots of lacy charts and lighter weight knits and twin sets and things like that.
I'd like to wear something called crab apple.
No, I thought that was interesting with the massive duplicates.
I thought that was a picture of a wedding cake at first.
It does look a bit like that. It's an oversized cardigan. And this one is called Trailing Rose and Foxglove, which I thought was just quite the use of a repeating pattern and very simple colours and just one chart that you use for everything.
Helen says she got that one too and made quite a few from it, but I'm not quite sure which one that is.
Oh, okay. I know that you'll be making this skirt tonight.
That's very Lady Mary-ish.
I used to have about half a dozen knitted skirts like that. Juniper berries, that one's called. I'm trying to. Can you see that now?
I like that.
I can't see
like
the
that. I think I'd have to have a different neck because I'm like, I can't wear anything.
I would change that to a V-neck.
Yeah.
And I could have a blouse with the buttons open.
I like a really deep V with a little vest underneath.
Yeah, I think that's how I'd wear it. But I do like the colours. I think I'd probably go more sort of teal and a warmer colour. But I think the colours that they've used in this would look lovely on you. Oh, here we go again. This one's called Thistle.
Oh, love it. It's like yeah, it's like the flower on a thistle, isn't it?
It is. And I like this one. It's called Hazelnuts and Acorns.
Oh, I do like that, yeah.
Lots of bobbles, interesting cables, lovely double moss stitch texture on the sleeves with a central cable pattern. Really, really nice.
So one to concentrate on is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting with the sort of lightweight mohair and the leaf. I just
look at those sleeves.
Yeah, they're really outrageous, aren't they? I'd get them caught on every bloody door handle I went through. Obviously going to make these for Caitlin and Callum for Christmas.
Obviously, I mean,
in those exact colours.
Why would you? Crimson toadstools. Some of the names leave a lot to be desired, to be honest. Is that a vest? Like, why would you call that vest seed vessels? That just doesn't. inspire you?
I don't know. I do quite like the mittens and the cowl that go with it, with the more intricate cables. But I've not actually got to the patterns of those yet. Something called Song Thrush, which is just a boring cardigan. Plastic and parsley, where's that? A lady's coat. Oh, there we are. Oh, compared with that.
Oh my goodness, how long would that take you to make?
I don't know, but someone's obviously made it because they've photocopied it and there's notes on it.
What do the notes say? I hate this.
It's about sizing and things.
Forever.
She loved anything like that. Oh, I think that's interesting. It's probably a bit dark to see.
I do love the beret. Oh, the woman, not the little girl.
Yeah, the woman.
That looks like a black mohair with pink love hearts or something.
It's got dark leaves. It's probably a bluey grey.
Right.
It's got little holly berries and things like that on it. It looks like a lot of work if you ask me. Yeah, wouldn't be.
You know, I'm not into a lot of work in my knitting.
Let's see. Don't think there's anything else leaked out. Let's have a look in the toys section there. Oh yeah. Okay, so there's your.
Oh, I want the lamb. Someone want to make me that, because I'm not good at. I'm not a toy knitter, but I want to cuddle that.
And there's a little knitted hodgehog in loop stitch as well. And
Caitlin would like that.
And there's a doll that looks like I did the face. Look at those lips.
That's a bit creepy, that doll.
Yeah.
That is like Bride of Chucky, isn't it?
Do we look at those lips again? I'm thinking Kermit. It's a bit Kermit. A frog thing going on. There's a variety of teddy outfits to match the children's outfits and such. Using up the leftover yarns, which I thought was a nice touch.
But that's just like a normal teddy. It's not a pattern to make a teddy.
Oh, and there's a phone number for the British Wool Marketing Board, Hand Knitting Federation, and the International Wool Secretariat. So Marion's obviously been in touch with them over availability. I thought that might just tickle you.
I really enjoyed looking at those. Helen's telling us which one she's made.
All right.
Trailing Rose and Foxglove, and 2 different juniper berries, and the Crimson Toadstool for my friend's daughter.
Oh wow. They look like a lot of work, Helen.
Yeah.
My goodness. Nice to see you, Yvonne. Hope you're okay. So yeah, I just thought that would be an interesting interlude. There's a couple of more books over there I can grab if you're interested. One is on socks.
The thing is, they're always good for a bit of inspiration, aren't they?
And there was this. I think we categorised this under patterns I'm never going to knit as long as I've got a hole in my backside.
Oh no, I love those proper traditional Scottish socks.
Yeah, I'm sure they're lovely. You can make them, not me. This is called Socks a la carte, and I cannot tell you how excited Marion was when she got this book.
That's like a recipe, isn't it, where you can swap and change rather than a pattern.
So once we've got past the rubbishy bits, or the explainy stuff about how to knit with 2 needles and what the stitches are and cuffs and all of that, you get to the flip pages, which I think is a lovely idea.
Oh yeah.
And you can flip through. I think they're probably all in the same colour.
That reminds me of one of those books I had as a girl, where you had like a person, and you could flip the pages for the tops and the skirts and things.
Now toes on that make. Am I the only one thinking of Carry On Screaming and the Funny Monster? Because of those toes.
That big toe's a bit weirdly out of proportion, to be honest.
Yeah, but you can put together, it's a shame they're not in different colours, but you can basically put together any combination from the ones that are in the book, and it has a nice bit of elastic to hold the book shut or open on the page that you want. So Lovely features.
When you've made your selection, you don't lose it.
King Cole socks again, free with any purchase of zigzag yarn. So she must have bought quite a lot of that. And where's this one? Oh, that looks a bit mucky still. We might have...
Talking of socks, did I ever tell you the story about the little boy that come in when I was teaching and he was confused about socks?
No.
He came in and he said that his mum and dad had a bit of argument in the morning and he didn't understand because mummy was shouting at daddy really angrily that they never have any socks anymore, but his drawer was full of them.
Oh dear. Oh dearie me. I thought you would like this one. I put a post in the group the other week about someone whose children were sat out on the front street during lockdown, and everyone that walked past, they had decided, these two girls, to say something nice to everyone that walked past. And he says, I'm sat in the garden howling because the latest comment I've overheard was something along the lines of, your sweater matches your dog and I love that about you. Has she bought the sweater to go with the flowers or the flowers to go with the sweater?
It's debatable, you know. She could have a love of that type of flower.
This is Nature Knits by somebody called Jenny Key, who I've never heard of, bless her.
She's probably really famous.
But I thought, how practical is that thick woolen dress?
Yeah, but she wants to be careful because if she gets the hem of that wet, it's going to be down to her ankles before she knows it.
Well, this is the problem. And I loved when I looked at the beginning of this to see names like Kumpatu Vest Jacket, Doves and Dolphins, Aphrodite, The Ultimate Oz, Warata and Black Boy, Floral Oz, Pax Vest Socks and Scarf, Pax Joy Cardigan, Poncho, Jumper Skirt. She must have liked Pax. Actia Jumper, Barramundi, Didgeridoo Dolman.
Wow.
The Gumleaf Jumper, Football Fish Tabard. Excited to see that. Barrier Reef Top Skirt and Sweater, Dolphin Tabard and Top, the Stingray Top. Do we have to do the song? Stingray, Stingray. Are you too young for that? Under the Sea Dress, Spotty Fish Cardigan.
Oh.
Sounds lovely. I should probably have discussed that with my doctor yesterday. A tropical sea garden dress. So I just thought I'd sort of lead you into a bit of excitement, and it's full of big pictures of things like this.
Wow.
Really wild, large designs, and she's obviously got a great eye for colour when you see these things together. Can you see those?
Yeah.
Trying not to get too much reflection on them. That's something fishy. There's a toy blanket.
Oh my goodness! Is that actually the jumper, or is that a blanket next to it?
There's a blanket hanging on a line, and then she's wearing the cardigan to match it. And then
so you could go on a picnic
with a vest, yeah.
And you could just completely match.
Yeah, but you just love those. I think I'd wear those to Aldi.
So basically what you're doing is you could knit a blanket, seam it and wear it.
Essentially, I didn't think that was bad, but maybe I'm just drawn by the colours.
That's quite Batwingish, I think.
Yeah,
isn't it?
again, I'd end up wrapped around the bloody door handles. I think that's something fishy. I don't know. Football fish, that one's called. This one is the Barrier Reef.
Is that a dress?
There's a dress and an awful dress. And then there's a sort of sack dress, which is covered in sand and wet water now. Well, there only is wet water, isn't there? What am I talking about? Should we talk about unfortunate pattern placement?
Yeah, that's not the best. You can tell from her face that she's thinking about that.
Yeah.
I think Yvonne's having some issues. She says it keeps loading and the stream is dead, but then we're back. But I can see us on my phone. It's not disappeared off my phone.
No, it says the stream rate is 1.5 megabits.
What's that mean?
It means it's fairly fast. So I don't think it's an issue here. It might be an issue
Oh
elsewhere
wow.
on work. I thought they were fun.
That's yin and yang, and is that the peace sign?
It's Earth First Kumpatu Wilderness sweater. It's got words all over it, like nature on the sleeves, and
So that's what you wear when you're going to meet the Dalai Lama.
dolphiny things and doves and whatnot. The ultimate awesome. I mean, look at that part.
That looks like a map.
Yeah, maybe that's what she was inspired by. But there's lots of things like this, and this is obviously a chart for a big square poncho-y thing with a V-neck.
Yeah.
For the joy pattern.
That's a lot of colour work involved in that one.
And apparently they're leg warmers.
Oh, leg warmers. Love them.
To match everything else.
Really,
I mean, that's a lot.
What was that? A jumper, a skirt, and leg warmers?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Barramundi chart, which I thought was great fun.
That is interesting. Someone's definitely been inspired there, haven't they?
Yes. Yes, most definitely. Just trying to see if there's anything else that sort of leaps out as super interesting. So again, these are all designed to be worn together.
Right, skirt, short sleeve top, long sleeve jumper.
Yeah.
That's front and back of the same item though, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just more of the same. Oh, stingray.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where's what's his name? The Australian guy, the crocodile hunter. He wouldn't be very impressed with that one.
Oh yes, Steve Irwin.
That's him.
Well, I think the problem is he was really impressed and he was just overly close and it got a bit stressed, didn't it? But never mind. So yeah, I think it's a nice picture on the back as well. I think the colours work well for her. A little overwhelming maybe, but
What are those things across the chest
shells,
bit?
seashells.
Right, okay. I like it.
Love of the sea written all over her. So yeah, I thought you might enjoy that.
I should make that one and then go and wear it at home down on Hayling Island.
No, everyone will want one. That's the problem.
That's the problem. They'd be jealous.
Well,
how's your tipple?
Yeah, I've got gin and tonic this evening. Thought I'd have some, and it's in a proper glass. I'm sure enough. So.
It's a proper sturdy glass. That one.
Yeah, it's not a tip over ball thing.
Vodka, lime, and lemonade. It's a bit strong on the lime actually.
I probably went a bit heavy on the vodka because I put as much in as I put in my little glass, and then realised this is a little fat glass.
Right. I just put a load of ice in and then put the alcohol in to cover the ice. The problem is I never put the same amount of ice in. It's just, what happens. Just fly by the seat of your pants sort of thing on a Thursday night.
Well, it's what it is. So I thought you might enjoy that little look through some of the gifted and older things in my library.
Too, right? That was fun.
And
what have you been making?
Do you remember the wrap cardigan I sent for Becky's little girl, Isabella Grace?
Yeah.
In the grey.
Yeah.
I'm just re-knitting that, and it's not a white. And you see the flecks.
Oh, that's pretty.
And using that with just some leftover Starcraft.
What colour's that one? That looks like a cornflower.
Slightly more towards the purple. Not sure which one it is. Would have to get the shade chart out, which is bad because I know most of the Starcraft. But
you let me down. I've never asked you what a colour is before without you knowing.
I know, it's sad, isn't it? But yeah. I would have to go and look in my projects because I think it's leftover yarn from Rosie's blanket at the uni.
It's not blue.
Well, I suppose it could be a blue. It tones quite nicely with that blue. But I don't know, it just has a little purpley look to it to me, but
Yeah, when you
it
put it
doesn't
against
mean
something
it
else.
is.
Yeah, it's one of those colours. When you put it next to a different colour, it looks blue. But when you put it next to blue, it doesn't look so blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that I talk absolute nonsense and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we actually got a compliment the other night. Oh, we'll read this out for anybody who's interested. It's from my friend Stuart Andrew Alexander.
Yeah.
And he's done this thing. It's like a digital business card for me. So I'll show you what he's done. But we were talking about, so he gets your name wrong at this point, but we don't introduce ourselves. And of course, across the stream, it said something like versatile eagle or
because I've stopped putting my name on because I think they're funny.
constipated critter or something like
Yeah.
that. So it says, watching you and Anne on your YouTube knitting channel is absolutely hilarious. Emily and I were in bits. It's so funny how you bounce off each other. And Anne comes out with some total classics when it comes to technology. You two need your own primetime show. Honest, I tell you, you'd be a big hit. Besides it being really funny, it was actually just nice for the two of us to spend the evening and see two friends having a good old knit and a chat. We love you both immensely. Never has knitting been so interesting to a retired army officer. Keep it up, ladies.
Love it.
There you are.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I just thought that was really funny.
That is really funny. Well, it's true. I mean, I haven't got a clue about technology really. It's fine. My knowledge is turn it off and back on again.
Well, and that did work the other day, but
It
that
did,
did
yeah.
fix the issue I was having. So, you have your sort of strengths and tech support somewhere.
I love the fact that I try and give you tech advice.
I know.
I love it. That's
I
superb.
was building quite a complex site for someone, and my dad rang me and said, "Well, just give me a shout if you need me to do anything." So on my inner sarcastic bitch just sort of said, "Oh yeah, because you're my go-to for tech support." And then other stuff, proofreading, I'm thinking the dyslexic to proofread.
Well, I was thinking along the lines of if there wasn't social distancing, he could be making you the cups of tea to keep you going. But at the moment, you
Well,
can't even
yeah,
do that.
if I was at the office in his house, I'd be getting cups of tea every few minutes because my mum would want to know what we were on with. But these days, there's very often a Zoom camera on and people chat, and she doesn't always want to be seen. So,
She doesn't. She stays clear. So this is what happens in our house when Phil's home and we're doing stuff, like little projects and things. He does all the work, and I'm builder's mate. I'll pass him the screwdriver, or go and make a cup of tea, or go and fetch something. Oh. And I'm really good as a support. I'm brilliant. I don't know how I ever became a teacher. I think I'd been much better as a teaching assistant, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's looking kind of cute.
I think it looks gorgeous.
I think I've done enough now for the sort of bottom bit. I now need to do the slope because it's a ballet wrap style. So
Yeah.
I have sloping fronts that wrap over.
Lovely.
I need to do some serious decreasing and then think about what length I need to get to before I start the armholes, which is very simple.
You made it absolutely ages ago, and you did the classic, didn't write your notes down while you were making it.
This is absolutely the one that I made, oh gosh, 6 years ago or more.
So now you're having to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, thankfully, because of the pattern, I was able to look at the photographs and have a rough guesstimate of how many stitches I did for that size, and then sort of standardize it and then think, right, so how do I do that? Do I want to make it completely symmetrical with the pattern, or am I not bothered about the symmetry? And I'm not. So yeah, kind of there with it.
That's cool then.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. And it'll take more rows than if I'd just done garter stitch or something, because there's some slip stitch rows. which reduced the height a tiny bit, but not enough to really worry about. It's fine.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun. I can show you the red one if anybody wants to see it. I can quickly
Definitely.
into Ravaroo.
You know, we are a bit voyeur like that, don't we? We like to see what's what.
Yeah.
Look, I'm getting the fruit pastels out and the dog comes. He's such a fiend for sweeties, this one.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of just clever.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's clever, don't you? Where is it? Where is it?
What?
It's the only thing photographed on top of a bloody yellow blanket. How can I not see it?
It's disappeared.
It's definitely in here. Before that. It's definitely before that. Surely it was before that.
It's like me trying to find something on my camera roll on my phone. There's about 60,000 photos.
I think I'd made it sort of half with Sally in mind. And then she had a little boy. So her sister got it. But she doesn't know that that's the case. Otherwise there'd be serious jealousy going on. There you are.
There we are.
So yeah, it'll look a little bit like that. I don't know whether I'll do the cuffs and things like that. I don't know. I might add just a simple I-cord to the edges and stuff at the end. And I did a matching bonnet, but
I love the bonnet.
That was super easy. And then I did the little bib. That's just some antique pink alpaca, baby alpaca, I think.
You'll have to give me a shout if you want a test knitter. I'll make one of them for my granddaughter that's coming.
Yeah, I will do. I mean, it should be relatively quick. And for me,
I've got plenty of baby wool.
Are you sure? You sure you got enough?
You got enough? I might have to buy some more actually. I haven't bought any for a couple of weeks.
Have you not?
I did make a thing, but I haven't brought it in. I forgot to bring it.
Oh, what was that?
A little baby scratch mitten.
Oh yes, yeah, you did a photograph, didn't you?
Yeah, I made it. I actually was really inspired yesterday. I don't know. I just come in and I was feeling all happy. I was happy.
Not much social distancing going on in this one, is there?
No. Well, kids can't social distance, can they, really?
Well, some adults don't seem to be able to do it, but you know.
Tell me about it. So I've had 2 socially distanced meetings since the rules were changed. So much for me thinking I was going to listen to Nicola Sturgeon. But I think basically that there are a lot of COVID idiots out there that aren't following the rules when you look at the tubes and everything in London. So I think that the rate of infection is going to go up, and I believe we're going to be back in lockdown for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I decided I'm going to go out and be sensible, and I like that one. And I saw my friend. We went for a socially distanced run, and it was fab. Didn't realise how much I missed her, actually, to be honest. And when I got home, it was like a whole new me. I did loads of housework. I did knitting for the first time in over a week. And then this morning I went round to see my mother-in-law, and I took my own chair and I took my own travel coffee mug thing, and she sat on her chair by the front door and I just sat inside the gate, and we sat for an hour and talked, and then I come home.
Oh, she'll have really enjoyed that.
Oh, do you know what? I think she's been craving something different, and it was a little bit chilly. I mean, when the sun come out, it was boiling, absolutely boiling, but when it went behind the clouds and there's that little bit of a wind coming down, and I did feel a bit like, oh, because she's 86,
right,
and she's sitting there in a nightie in her dressing gown, bless her. I I don't know. I've just completely lost all concentration recently.
Is this why?
It could be. It could be that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's why I managed to make that baby thing, because it literally was cast it on, join it in the round, a few rows of rib, didn't even increase, a few rows of plain in the round, a couple of rows decrease, and then pull it through. It took a couple of hours.
Well, that's good then, isn't it?
Not much concentration, does it, to be fair?
Have you made the other one?
Yeah, I've made the other one.
So you have a pair?
No.
Okay. This is you tonight.
I made a thing. Was that
Yes.
It was walking.
Uh-huh.
I like him.
Yeah,
Mrs.
he's got a different comma to the Shatner comma, obviously.
Oh right, yeah. So yeah, it's been an eventful couple of days. Oh, Caitlin and I watched the Sewing Bee this afternoon. Have you watched any of it yet?
No, haven't seen a single episode. I watched on Netflix yesterday the book club with Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen.
Oh, is that the one where they read 50
Mary
Shades of Grey?
Steenburgen. Yeah.
Is it good?
They don't actually do an awful lot of reading.
Was it like
it
drinking wine?
was nice. It was about grown-up friendships, love relationships, and it was nice to see mature women as good, strong lead characters, and it was fun. So yeah, I'd definitely watch it again.
Easy watching.
A very easy, relaxing, enjoyable thing to watch while I was knitting. Don Johnson's in it. Little bit of the older lady. So yeah, who else? Richard Dreyfuss is in it.
I love Richard Dreyfuss. I had a bit of a weird crush on him when I was younger.
When he was in Jaws.
No, what was the one where he was the psychiatrist and he went on holiday and his client followed him?
Oh, it's something like What About Bobo?
Yeah, something like that. That was the one. Yeah. But then I did have weird crushes when I was growing up. One of my other crushes was Chevy Chase.
Oh, I don't know if I even dare admit mine.
Come on, let's have a hear.
Doug McClure.
I don't know him.
Alias Smith and Jones, was he in that? McClure.
Right, I like
Westerns and things like that. And he's always in caricatures on The Simpsons, and they call him Try McClure. And you'll know me from shows like, he was in lots of movies. He was in The Virginian, he was in The Land That I Forgot, At the Oscar, Warlords of Atlantis.
He'll be one of them with no his face. Show me a picture of him.
Hang on. Here we go. Let me share screen. More sort of like that, really. Oh, bit of
chest out.
Bit of chest hair going on, yeah.
Wow.
I like a smattering of chest hair, but not back.
Yeah, see, Helen says Virginian.
Yeah, the Virginian. He was in that.
I don't think I recognise him.
Might be a bit before your time.
Was he in cowboy movies? You know, the ones parents used to like.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
I would have to IMDb to see what the series. He played Trampus in something. Not in. Oh, Trampus. That was the Virginian then. So that's I remember him from that as a little girl. He was my sort of little girl crush. He was very soon replaced by Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man.
Lee Majors, good-looking man in his time.
Was absolutely. Now then, Yvonne says finish the ripple crop top and it's blocking, and she's weaving on a small circle loom to make a hot pad for the kitchen. I've never tried circular weaving. Is it easy, Yvonne? Do you need much in the way of equipment to get started, or is it? I don't know.
Never done anything like that either.
No, I haven't.
Mm.
Sounds like a good way to use.
Yeah.
Be a good stash buster, I'd imagine.
Oh, I had a really good run again today.
Oh, did you? I never got a run, but yeah.
There's something going on. I've definitely got my mojo back in certain areas. It's coming and going. It's a bit like a interrupted signal at the moment. It's there and then it disappears and then it comes back again. Whereas, you know, a couple of days ago, it's just gone completely. But yeah, I was sat there this morning and I went, I'm going to get on the treadmill. And I literally just got up and got on the treadmill. What's that all about? Nobody gets up and goes on the treadmill voluntarily. So yeah, and then I did 2.91 miles in my 32 minutes.
Oh,
I'm getting close.
yeah, I'd be lucky to get my 2.15 in that.
So did you say you didn't have a workout today?
I didn't have a run today.
You
I
were
did
too busy doing your house though,
shopping, and then I had to prep. I had a board meeting for the Housing Association on go-to meetings. So I had to do 2 hours of reading paperwork and then a 2 hour meeting, by which time we were all like that. I mean, it's never boring. It's always interesting. There's always complex issues to discuss. But by the end of it, we were flagging, I think.
Yeah, it's not my idea of fun, I'm afraid.
I did wonder if I could get away with the meeting from bed, but...
Well, it depends if you've got a camera on you or not, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the other day when I thought, oh, it's all right, it's just Loraine. We'll just have a little chat, me and Loraine. So I'll just sit here in bed. I won't bother getting up. And there's your dad. And I'm like, I've got no bra on or anything.
Oh, Helen's saying that she liked Pete Jewell and was devastated when he committed suicide. I absolutely loved Pete Jewell. So it was Alias Smith and Jones, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Loved it. Yeah, it was so good looking. Because was it his brother or his cousin Alan Jewell who carried on acting for quite a while? All right, so Yvonne's saying this is how to make a tutorial to make your own circle weaving loom thing with cardboard. That's brilliant.
He looks a bit like Orlando Bloom.
What, Pete Jewell?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you who I had a thing for. Did you ever watch? There was a TV program called Emergency. Was it 911 or something? I think.
I don't know.
Oh, I can't even remember when it was. My dad used to love watching it. Was it Rescue 911? Oh, Emergency. That was it. Was called Emergency. Just called Emergency. Right. Okay. Can I share my screen?
Possibly.
Let me have a look and see if I can. No, that's picture in picture. I didn't want to do that. Share screen. Yeah. I want to share that one. Oh, hang on. Application window, isn't it? Oh no, Chrome tab.
Chrome tab. Yeah.
That one there. Share. Right. There. Right. That was a TV program that my dad watched all the time. And you see the guy with the dark hair at the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bit of a thing for him, and to the point where I actually wanted to join the fire brigade.
Okay.
But I was too short because you have to be 1 meter 78, and I was only 1 meter 52. So yeah, that wasn't going to happen. And I'm not very good on ladders either.
Now it says here there was a Jeffrey duel. That was his brother. I was sure there was a cousin or somebody else who was also acting.
There possibly was. Are you looking on IMDb?
I'm on Wrongipedia at the moment.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm
Not good.
picking up all sorts of information there, couldn't I? I'll check
Yeah.
out that tutorial. Thanks, Yvonne.
Is that the weaving?
Yeah, so she's showing us what she bought. There's a link to that.
Cool.
And hints and tips for circle weaving and whatnot. Oh, brilliant. I'll have a look at that.
It's always good to try something new. My friend Jane's really good at the needle felting, but I couldn't do that. I'd end up stabbing my hand to death.
Yeah, it's not my thing either.
Yeah.
While Rosie's mum was off work with a broken finger, which had dislocated.
Ouch, that sounds really painful.
Yeah. I took her to one of the afternoons in the village, and Lucy, the vicar, was doing. She had these pre-felted balls that she'd done already, and then showed her how to make like a sheep's face and put little ears on and little eyes and whatnot to do sheep baubles.
Yeah.
She was doing that, and she said, Lucy said, no, you have to be quite aggressive with it. You need it to grip. So Tracy sat there almost like having this thing, and then she said, oh, my hand that's holding it, my sore hand is getting really uncomfortable. I'm thinking, no wonder, because you're just pretending it's the husband.
I suppose it would be really good to get your pent-up aggression out at the minute.
Yeah, it probably would be quite a good one for that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, there was some desperately cute stuff that they made. I found did I tell you I'd started a Persian towel blanket, Jenny Crowfoot.
Oh, no, we don't know about this.
Maybe I started it last year or the year before. So here we go,
Right.
Chrome towel. So that's my first.
Oh, that's beautiful. That looks really difficult though.
And that's my second one.
And
that'd be my third one.
I like the colours of that one best.
I think they're all pretty. You do 16 of the things, but all I can say,
oh wow,
you do those little infill squares and triangles and then the border. All I can say to you is it took me 8 hours per octagon. It's not a quick project, and that's probably why it's in a big box upstairs.
And you've got a lot of different colours there, so you're going to have ends, aren't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of weaving in, and you have to change your hook size several times.
Oh gosh.
So, can you see my mouse or not?
Yeah.
These twiddly bits you have to go down in hook size. They're a little big on that one. I think by the time I got to that one, I'd dropped the hook size, and they're not quite as floopy doopy. They're a touch big in the earlier ones that I did. But I absolutely adore the colours. The colour scheme that is in that particular kit was from Lucia at Lucia's Factory.
So do you then crochet them together?
You do join them, and you have some squares in between them, and then some triangles too.
So I assume you have to make the squares and then crochet them together. You don't
join all of those bits.
Right. Right.
I don't think you join as you go. You might. I've not read ahead on the pattern. I was just starting in octagons.
I'm not very good at crochet, so I'm not sure how things are constructed really. I've only got the real basics. That is way, way beyond what I could do.
Well, I thought it would be way beyond what I could do, but to be honest, it actually, followed the instructions.
I think you've got quite good crochet skills. You can do quite a lot. Oh, what's he doing? What's going on your front there? Is that his nose or his tongue?
I think it's his nose. We're saying it's his nose.
He's got a wiggly nose. And what's going on there? What are those things on their face? Weird
do
growth.
not. Oh, you like this one?
I could say something really, really rude, but I'm not gonna.
No. Oh, this one's definitely been in lockdown too long.
Oh, don't. Look, I've had vodka. Is he saving his snack for later? What's with these weird things? They look like hamsters.
Well, I don't know. I think I've just got fatter cheeks now that I'm,
I
in.
wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the teddies.
Oh, well, you thought you meant me then.
No, the teddies have got those weird. All of them have got those weird things on their face. What do they call that when the hamster puts their food in their pouches for later? It's got an actual technical name.
Was it? I'm just going to go with lazy.
No. It's quite clever because it's in case they, like if they're full, but they've got food left over, but they're worried that they might lose it, so they eat it but keep it.
Like lockdown.
Yeah, that's the one. Jesus. I just found something on the shelf which is a little bit scary.
Is it something you should be showing us?
Yeah, it certainly is something I should be showing you. Right, okay. I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera. This person here is my husband. Hang on.
Wow.
Can you see him?
How tiny is he?
Oh, look, there's light on him.
Is that for sort of first year in the Navy?
I'm assuming that's his submarine that he was on.
I think so.
That must be his bunk. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
How neat that is. No wonder he's always making me feel guilty. He's always tidying when he comes home. I've just seen this on the shelf.
Plenty to get on with.
This is in amongst my knitting books. I think
maybe he just wants you to not forget him.
I don't understand why he's put that in my knitting books. Rude.
I don't know.
I'll be having a word with him. Oh, yellow submarine. Yeah, too right. Submariner's Dobie, as he always says. Cool. Oh, bless him. Didn't even know I had that picture of him. I might have to take a photo of that and embarrass him online.
Oh, bless.
Bit of social media there. See, they flash up so quickly, don't they?
Some of them do, yeah. Not sure what to think of this one.
Okay. Oh, that could actually be my husband with that haircut. Yeah.
They've all got the same haircut.
They do.
All got the same barber.
Well, my husband's got proper afro hair. Well, he doesn't actually now because he's got no hair whatsoever. But I would have loved him to have had long dreadlocks or something. He would have looked lovely with it.
So Helen's done a bit of Googling and we think it's Roger Davies who took over in alias Smith and Jones after Pete Jewell died.
Was he a British guy then?
Don't think so.
What's he doing in Smith and Jones?
Alias Smith and Jones. You're thinking Alas Smith and Jones, which is a play on words based on the series that was out many years before.
Oh, I've seen Alas Smith and Jones, and I wouldn't have seen Alias Smith and Jones. Oh wow. What was it?
What?
Alias
Smith and Jones. They had to. It's Wild West, and they had to spend a certain amount of time without getting into trouble, or they were going to go to jail.
Right.
And,
so a bit like
but everywhere they went, they got into trouble.
So they were like on probation.
Yeah. So they were always having to stop something from happening so that they didn't get blamed or involved or whatever.
Okay.
It was quite funny in places.
I think that would frustrate me. Because like my mum and dad, my mum loves slapstick. And I remember watching a film with them once, and I never ever laugh at the same things as my mum. My mum was in stitches, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this poor guy, he's just trying to get to work and everything's going wrong. That's not funny. And I think probably that would upset me if these poor guys are just trying to stay out of prison. That is the autism in me coming out, I tell you.
Possibly.
Oh, honestly, it just really upsets me. Laurel and Hardy, I can't watch Laurel and Hardy.
You can't watch the one with the piano.
I can't, honestly, if there's anything like that where things are going wrong and the poor guys are just trying to get on with their life, no, it really, really upsets me. I can't.
I think they're hilarious.
And
as a child, where they sing Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, and then Stan gets a whack on the head and starts singing in this very high lady's voice, I thought that was hilarious. See, my mum doesn't get Laurel and Hardy, but we all do.
Right.
And she hates Steve Martin, and we sat one afternoon watching The Three Amigos. Have you seen that? With Martin Short, Steve Martin, Chevy Chase.
I can't remember details about it.
Okay, well, spoiler alert for anyone that's not seen it. But basically, they have to get the help of the invisible swordsman, or they're all going to die.
Mm-hmm.
They're actors who are mistaken for heroes in Mexico and have to go up against these bandits. So their plan is to find the invisible swordsman. They have to go past the singing bush, which bizarrely is singing She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain When She Comes. And then they get there, and then they summon the invisible swordsman, and then they're like shooting like this, and one of them accidentally shoots the invisible swordsman.
Okay.
And there's this smack as the body lands on the ground, and then the dust lifts in the shape of a man on the floor. Well, we were in hysterics, and my mum just said, well, I don't see what's funny.
I think I would find that funny.
It was done. Then they lift up this invisible hand and then drop it down, and there's this cloud of dust again, and it's daft things like that we really love. The only bit she laughed at in that was there's a bar, and a load of baddies are supposed to meet some hitmen or contractors or whatever, and they tell them that the three of them are coming. And these idiot actors turn up in their Mexican costumes with the sombreros and all the rest of it and start singing My Little Buttercup and all this jazz hand stuff. And everybody's terrified and singing along because they think that they're the murderers.
And they have to do what
they're not at all.
No. Martin Short.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I like Steve Martin. I like Martin Short. I think I could watch that because that sounds more Monty Python-ish.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And it's got really daft bits of jokes.
Daft is fine. I can handle like Monty Python. I love. I mean, it just makes me laugh. That whole thing. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy, and things like that. Just really, really make me laugh.
I think for me, with Laurel and Hardy, the episode with the piano is one of the best.
I'll have to revisit it as an adult, I think.
Because they're trying to get this piano up this massive flight of stone stairs to this house.
Right.
And it's going down, it's going up, it's going down, it's going up. And every time they think they're getting somewhere, it's back down again. And then at the very end, they realise there's actually a road at the back of the house, and they could have just driven to the back of the house and pushed it in. But it's the nightmare of it getting there and how difficult it is, because Stan is such an idiot and gets everything wrong, and Ollie's always mad with him, and it's very, very sweet.
I don't know, I think I could watch that. It also sounds to me a bit like the whole Muppets Christmas Carol thing where he climbs over the top and then he forgets and he just goes through the thing.
Well, a lot of these people, of course, have been inspired by Laurel and Hardy over the
So I
years.
could watch that. I used to be able to watch some Norman Wisdom. Some of it I found funny. Some of it just really frustrated me.
Yeah, I'm not a Norman Wisdom fan, I have to say, and never really. Who was the other one? My grandparents really liked him, George Formby. You know, leaning on their lamppost.
Oh, with the banjo. Yeah.
Yeah, not and Arthur Askey. The only thing I can stand to watch him in is The Ghost Train, which is a very old film, and he's quite funny in places. But he's so pompous, and I just want to slap him till he bleeds most of the
Well,
time.
that was the old the what do you call it? The hall. What did they call it when they were in the music hall?
Music hall, yeah.
Yeah. That was
that generation.
Yeah.
But did you watch the Laurel and Hardy movie with Steve?
Well, I was just going to ask you, was that any good? Because I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Loved it.
Right,
Absolutely loved it. It is obvious that the two leads that play Stan and Ollie absolutely adored them. And they wanted to give a sensitive and kind performance of a time in their lives when actually they hadn't spoken for quite some time. They had been falling out, had come back together. They were utterly screwed over by Lord Delfont, Bernard Delfont, an absolute crook. But it's just a really sweet kind of tribute to their relationship. And some of the comedy routines that you get to see the behind the scenes. Like there's one called The Waiting Room, and it's on a railway station platform. And one comes out the door and the other one goes in the other door, and they can't see one another. But the level of timing and counting steps that went into it to make that work and look so effortless.
Yeah,
it was just beautiful, and I'm not a big Steve Coogan fan, I have to say, but I loved it. It was very sweet, and it did make me cry.
I think Steve Coogan's very hit and miss. He does some things very, very well, and he does other things really badly. And it's like, no.
Yeah, that film I watched of his, it's on Netflix at the moment, and it's called Ideal Home.
Right.
And Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man, everyone will know who that is.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
He is his lover in it, and
Right.
also the producer of his cooking show. And this grandchild he didn't know he had appears as if from nowhere. And these two large man-child characters who are larger than life, irresponsible idiots, have all of a sudden got to sober up and sort themselves out. And there's this amazing scene, and I nearly died laughing, where he's telling the child off for stealing. And he's now, listen, young man, this is serious. And he takes a sip from the mug of tea, and the base of the mug says, I'm a twat. So how can you take anybody seriously who's even got that mug in their house?
Well, yeah, there is that.
And the social worker arrives, and there's a massive cupboard of like anal porn and stuff like this. You just think, yeah, it is so not the ideal home, but ends up being the ideal home, and it's very clever and very funny. And I think I like him in that.
That's about challenging stereotypes, I suppose, isn't it? I tried watching. See, I love Rob Brydon, but I tried watching that thing that Steve Coogan did with Rob Brydon about was it The Journey or something? And they stayed in it. Oh, it was just awful.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all. Maybe it was just not my sense of humor, or
I don't like these kind of road trip type programs.
It wasn't a real one, like the Gino and Fred thing, where that's actually a real road trip and they just film them. This was a scripted thing, and I didn't enjoy it.
Facebook has just changed my camera.
Why?
I've absolutely no idea.
very rude.
It's saying this camera is not supported by your current web browser. It's because I'm not using that camera.
Which camera?
I'm using the plug-in camera.
Your new one?
Yeah. But it keeps saying this camera is not supported, but the actual webcam picture is on, and that's just wrong. Seriously weird. I don't know what that's about.
Does your webcam not go over the top of your computer one?
I can move it over the top of it, but it won't matter with this one because it's actually not deep enough to hide it. So
Mine goes half over.
I don't know what it's doing. I think it might just be Facebook begging about because it binned me out of the page camera issue. There we are.
Facebook's just a law unto itself, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It is.
Oh, now there's a good-looking man.
Who's that? Sorry.
Did you see him?
No.
Bradley Cooper.
I don't know.
Did you watch?
We're getting close to 8 o'clock, by the way.
Oh God, yeah. Did you watch the new version of A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga?
Haven't, no.
Oh, I went to cinema to see that. I hadn't.
I think he's got a lovely voice.
The other, I'd never seen it because it's the third version, isn't it? Look at him. And I hadn't seen the other two, so I didn't know what was going on. And oh my goodness, sob is not the word.
All right.
I've got my cardigan ready. I need to, you know the routine. It's little girl's room.
Yeah.
Clap for carers. Top up the drink. Come back for take two. Is it like the commercial break? I know what it is. It's a bit like...
it's what is 6 minutes too, so we're all right. Yeah.
You know, what's his name? I don't watch it, but on Coronation Street they have one episode and then they put something else on because EastEnders is on the other channel, and then they put another episode on half an hour later.
Right.
So that's us. We have one bit, and then there's something else goes on, so we go off air for a little while, and then we come back on again.
Oh, good grief.
My dog's a bit confused. He was like, what's going on?
I'm really rather confused.
Are you still playing with your settings?
I am, yeah. I think I've got the right camera set.
And you look good.
I just don't know what it's on with. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's just having me on.
I'm going
to got your sign. I don't need to text anybody tonight because he's not in here. So I don't message anybody. What's he doing? He's helping Rosie move out of her house in Lancaster because the landlord wants them out by the weekend, or he will charge them for all of next year.
That's shocking.
I suspect is against the law, and I'd have called him out on social media and rang the police and trading standards. But there you are. It's up to her parents to do that. It's not really my business.
No, because really that's, things that people shouldn't have to be doing at the moment, isn't it?
Well, they shouldn't have to be making that kind of commitment. And I get that he's got a property to let, but they've not been in it for 2 months, but they've been paying for the beggar.
And also, who's he going to get to let it between now and September anyway?
Well, and I think the other thing is you can guarantee that they'll have had every business grant going to man, won't they?
Yeah. So basically being paid twice, probably.
Yeah.
He's probably said that she's not been paying him.
It kind of frustrates me a bit that there are people like that out there, but there you are. Yvonne says she used to watch Laurel and Hardy on film with a projector when she was little, and that her grandpa had a lot of those films. Did you like them? Did they make you laugh? Did you have a favourite? Mike's favourite is Oliver the Eighth. And this lady's had 7 husbands called Oliver who she's murdered.
Oh, right.
She wants Ollie to be Oliver the Eighth. And the butler is some sort of psychopath. And he might even be blind, I don't know. But he brings the soup out and starts ladling nothing into the bowls. So they've all got empty bowls.
Okay.
And then Stan is putting invisible salt and pepper into the empty bowls of soup and then slurping the soup down. And there's nothing there. And Oliver's just staring at him all the time.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's trying to make a good impression because Ollie really likes this woman and wants to marry her. And it's just it tickles.
Bit weird.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Right, I'm going to go because I'm going to go for a wee.
Yeah,
girls' room.
Stick the kettle on, I think, in the background and grab my my pan that is over on the table.
I've got mine by the door.
My wood end.
2 minutes.
Yes.
Toodles.
Oh, Yvonne says they did make her laugh, but she can't remember any individual ones. You're probably a bit young to remember.
I don't remember any Laurel and Hardy films specifically. Right, how's that looking? There we go. Right, see you in a mo.
See you in a mo. Right, won't be long. goodness me. Well, we're back. A lot less people tonight. And a lot less time spent crapping. We think, given that that's pretty much all we can do to help, that they'd have been up for it. But never mind. People have busy lives, don't they? And to be honest, I don't know how many of my neighbours are actually key workers themselves. So, who knows? Oh, excuse me. Yawning away. I've just topped up my hot tea, so that's good. So how long do you think it'll take for your top to dry, Yvonne? For your, where is it? Where's the name of it? Ripple crop top. That's the name I was looking for. My knitting, I think. I do need to figure out whether I need to stop at this point and what angle I need to do for those front wraps, though. There might have to be a bit of maths involved there, bit of calculating, because obviously I don't want to go too tall with it, because it's only the first sort of newborn baby size, 16-inch chest with a finished size of about 18 inches, something like that. To check what that is in centimetres. 6 inches, round about 15 centimetres. So about 45 centimetres finished measurement, something like that at the most. No, I was just wondering how long it will take for your blocking and to dry and whatnot, for your ripple crop top. I think my computer's going overboard with Windows updates or something. There's a lot of disk spinning going on in the background. Don't know why it always does this on a Thursday night. I stopped it and restarted it as well, in the theory that we wouldn't get this problem, but oh well, never mind. I think I should have plenty of yarn in both colours though there to make it, because I think I used about 65 grams of the red and probably a third of a ball at most of the grey when I did the original one of these, so I've probably got more than enough with what's there. All right, so Yvonne says, hope the top is dry tomorrow and definitely get pics this weekend. Really looking forward to seeing those. I'm sure it'll be absolutely gorgeous. Are you pleased with how it's knitted up and how it looks on the blocking boards? Because that often gives you a good idea of how the finished object is going to be, isn't it? They must be having a good old clap. Oh, so A is visiting because it's your birthday and obviously maintaining all safety precautions on the train. Absolutely, yeah. Hope he is safe during his travelling. I take it that your lockdown has less restrictions now on public transport as long as you're careful. So that'll be nice for your birthday. Have you got anything planned in terms of maybe I don't know, can you go and eat out yet, or will you have a takeaway or something, or maybe he'll cook you a nice meal? Is he someone who cooks? Jake would do me a cooked breakfast or something like that at any time of day, because it's a fairly safe bet that I would always eat bacon, egg and sausage if put in front of me.
I'd like a bacon cooked breakfast.
Oh, well, there you are. It's Yvonne's birthday at the weekend, so A's coming to visit. Obviously, being suitably careful and maintaining safety precautions on the train for his trip.
Yeah.
So, no, that's lovely. I think it's great that you get to spend time together. I bet you really missed him.
My brother's going to see his girlfriend at the weekend for a socially distanced walk.
All right.
Since lockdown started 7 weeks ago.
All right. How old's your brother, if you don't mind me asking?
He was 50 last November.
Right, okay. So masks are mandatory on public transport. I think they should be here very soon, shouldn't they? Face coverings, it says.
I thought they were, but they obviously aren't from the pictures of London.
I don't know. A friend of mine who owns a bus company shared a photograph, and I don't know where it originated from, whether it was one of his buses or somebody else's, but there was obviously a sign up saying you must wear a mask to go on the bus, and the lady had one of these operatic masks with feathers around her eyes and nothing covering the rest of her face.
Oh dear.
All right, so Pete is going to be doing the cooking. He's going to make some burgers as his gift to Yvonne, so that's nice. I love it when someone else
so lovely. See, this is the thing with kids and birthday presents. It doesn't have to be something that they've bought, and in fact, it's usually better if it isn't something that they've bought, you know?
Well, I think the gift of time and effort is worth far more than any money.
Caitlin gave me a drawing for my birthday, and I absolutely loved it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? My dad never gets my mum a card. In all the years they've been married, he sent her a Valentine's card the first year that they were engaged. And they were married within a year anyway, within a year of meeting. And it was a drawing that he'd done himself and decorated and embellished all the inside of the card. And she kept it for years. I think it got lost in a house move. But she absolutely treasured and loved that card because of the time he'd put into it while he was away in the army.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I think that's lovely. You can't beat that, can you?
You can't. Bill's the same. Bill won't buy cards. He says it is a waste of money. But then I've come from a household where my mum and dad always bought each other a card, or made a card, or did a card of some description for Valentine's, well, not for Valentine's Day, for their anniversary and for their birthdays, because they didn't have the money for presents or anything. So my mum always said she just wants a card, and it doesn't even have to be a shop bought one.
Yeah, my dad will get a present, but rarely a card.
Feels the same.
Yeah, and it's funny that way. Mike doesn't send cards because he says cards are for people you don't like. There's something you send them because you couldn't be asked to turn up, is his attitude. And I don't know why he thinks that way, but I know that in the last year that Kevin and I were together, he was a real pig in terms of just mean behaviour to try and force me to leave.
Yeah.
Was his strategy in the last couple of years. And I just dug my heels in. You want out, you go.
You go, yeah.
You are not turning me into the bad guy. And that's what he was trying to do. And I got a Valentine's card with regards. So I just opened it up, looked at it, got a big marker pen and said, "I'm not your effing auntie. And I'm not 85." And just gave it back to him and walked off.
I like it.
And I didn't get another card again. I did get a text saying happy anniversary when he was on holiday with some other woman.
Oh, nice.
And pretending not to be, you know.
A lot of thought gone into that. Yeah, I find it's funny, isn't it, how, you know, your Michael have that opinion, cards are for people that you don't care about, and it's, you know, a lack of thought. Whereas my mum and dad, thought of it completely the opposite way, that I want a card because you have to write. My mum always says you have to write a message in there and it shows thought.
My mum doesn't care what the front of the card has on it.
Mm.
She likes a thoughtful verse. So you
Yeah,
spend ages looking for one that's got a really nice verse, but looks like the back end of a box of dog.
yeah, because she likes what's
Not
inside
because
it.
she likes, but now she can't read the verses.
Uh,
So what I did was, before her eyesight started getting much worse, is spent a lot of money on a really good Christmas card and a really good birthday card, and said, that's it, you have to get them out every year.
yeah,
And that's what she does. She gets them out on her birthday and at Christmas.
I like it.
I,
You like it.
I don't mind. I'm quite happy to send a card because I think it's an opportunity just to say, well, actually, I was just thinking about you.
Love you. Yeah, I quite like those picture postcard things that you can do now. You know, that like the one touch or whatever they're called. They look, I mean, I've never done it myself, but they look like the sort of thing that I probably would have liked doing for my parents when my kids were little.
Yeah, and Yvonne makes a really good point, and P doesn't have massive amounts of pocket money, as most
Exactly.
people don't. And I don't. I'm with you 100%, Yvonne. I don't like Jake spending what was pocket money before he got a job, obviously, on me. And you know, it's like, well, what do you want for your birthday? Oh, I'll have a bottle of Prosecco when we're allowed to go shopping. And he did get me the bottle of Prosecco, but then he bought us a pizza and something else for a treat for a meal because we couldn't cook anything nice because we were knackered.
It's things like that, isn't it? You know,
Rita's just come in at the funny time and said, interesting conversation about the cards, isn't it? And it's all down to perspective, Rita, isn't it?
really is.
Yeah. I think Mike has had some bad experiences with cards and family, and it all stems from that. Whereas with my family, my mum thinks that if you don't send a card, you don't care.
Yeah, it's like, don't send me a present. Just send me. Do you remember I said to you, I had the dilemma about my grandson because I'd sent him a present and a card for his birthday, and I'd put the wrong date.
Mm.
His birthday was the 12th, which was Tuesday, and I'd put the delivery date as the 14th. Do you remember I was saying that I had the dilemma? What do I do? What do I do? Anyway, I completely forgot about it, so I didn't ring up in the end. Well, it turned up on the 12th. How lucky was I?
Blimey. Look at the Irish. So Yvonne says she always looks forward to the birthday cards from her parents, and it's usually made with a photo that her mum took and lots of nice words, and that for her is more important than the monetary gift that they
Well,
send.
exactly.
Absolutely, and that sort of sentiment and the sharing of memories and funny stories and things like that. I don't think you can buy that. I think that's just, it makes us who we are, doesn't it? What's your take on all of this, Rita? What do you think about greetings cards?
And they're quite important at the moment, actually, aren't they? You know, they're the little human connections.
Yeah, we had an interesting discussion earlier at the Housing Association meeting because across the country, sheltered accommodation is not sexy for older people. They don't necessarily want to go into sheltered. So for anyone that doesn't know, sheltered is where you are in maybe a complex or group of apartments or bungalows or whatever, and there's a warden who checks up, or there may not be a warden. It might be one of those things you hang around your neck that if you fall, you can call for help and somebody will come and sort you out and help you. But it's not deemed to be sexy because of, I think, how it's marketed, and people see it as sort of one foot in the grave, one foot on a banana skin. And we had this conversation, but actually I was talking to someone last week when I was out with dogs, you know, socially distanced and all the rest of it. And I said, what do you think about sheltered? And she said, well, actually, given having that we're going through this lockdown, and she lives on a sort of little row on this street where it's all bungalows. Everybody's of a similar age group. You have to be 55 plus to be able to move in there. Most of them are on their own, so they can chat to one another over the garden wall. So they've got a little bit of contact.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be much different to being sheltered. In fact, they'd possibly have more contact in sheltered. but not as much as if they were in a care home. And the thing is, in sheltered schemes, the death rate's virtually nil.
Yeah, because you've got your own space.
Because you've got your own space, you're not forced to go into communal areas because they're all closed, but you can all sit in the garden 2 or 3 meters apart and talk to one another and enjoy a barbecue and do things like that because you all live there and it's a shared garden or whatever. So I did pose the question of about, well, maybe we need to think again about shelters because it actually might end up being quite popular because it's better than crushing loneliness.
I've always personally thought that that is the sort of thing that I would like when I get older. I see my mother-in-law, 86 years old. She still lives in her own 2-bedroom home.
Mm.
You know, she's always got jobs that she wants doing. She either kills herself trying to do them herself, or she sits there waiting forever for somebody else to do them.
Yeah.
She's always worrying about it. She's struggling with the stairs. So she's, you know, I love it. She's got the housework that she wants to do, and it's a worry. And I just want, when I'm older, to have somewhere nice to live, but not have to worry about the fact that my garden's overgrown. I mean, I don't even like cutting the grass now, so why would I want to worry about cutting the grass in my 80s?
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh, oh,
Oh, I like it. So I think that they're ideal. That's the sort of thing that I really, really would like to go and live. It's like these tiny
yeah. This,
apartments.
this is what I aspire to in my old age.
Go on them.
I want
Yeah.
to be like Sophia from the Golden Girls.
I want to be down the pub drinking gins and tonic and stuff. My mother-in-law has one of those things that you put round your neck. She's so funny. She calls it a Buddha. She's got it from. I don't know why she calls it a Buddha.
Okay, that's a bit
It's
weird,
quite
isn't it?
funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's funny, isn't it? I don't really understand why anybody would choose to be alone. I can understand being introvert and needing time alone.
Having a
So
space.
yeah, and have the space when you feel like it, and being able to choose what you watch on your telly at
Yeah.
what time of day, and have that autonomy that if you want to make yourself some dinner, you can make yourself some dinner and do things like that. But having the security of knowing that there's someone there or can be there pretty quickly to help you out if you need it and
Yeah.
give you advice and help you with financial stuff and make sure you don't get in a knot.
Yeah.
And of course, the wardens have been helping with volunteer shopping and things like that on the shelter.
Yeah,
So there's all sorts of advantages like that. And yeah, it's not sexy. The thing is, when you get one of the ladies who lived opposite me, her husband died and he'd been her carer. And we really thought she would die first, to be honest, but it obviously wore him out with the caring, bless. And she moved into one of the little flats in Ulverston, a little bungalow there in a little sheltered scheme. Bloody loves it.
yeah.
You would not recognise her if you saw her because she's up and about and getting and doing stuff again. Whereas
Yeah.
when she was at home with him, he did everything.
Yeah.
So she never built up any strength to do stuff. But she goes to coffee, well, did, not now, obviously, because it's all switched off, but was going to coffee mornings and
We
being
did
out in the garden.
we had this conversation with our dad, actually, because my dad is my mum's carer and she's gone downhill. She doesn't walk anywhere. She's in a wheelchair now. And we said to him at one point, we said, you are killing her with kindness. You need to make her do more. Since she's been 60, she's been 90, you know, and
Yeah, some people enjoy their ill health
I
and
believe
they play on it.
yeah. Yeah, because you would find if there was people in the room, and you know what it's like when a family gets together, they haven't seen each other for a long time and everyone's talking, and my mum wouldn't know how to join in on the conversation because I don't think she's got great social skills, bless her. So she would suddenly go into a hypo, you know, or something would suddenly be wrong to bring the attention back, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
it's a bit sad, really, to be honest. She's got better in recent years since my dad's kind of pulled back a bit and made her do some stuff on her own.
Oh, now back to the greeting cards thing.
Oh,
Rita says,
yeah.
so when she got married, all of her grandparents had been dead for a long time, but her husband had 3 of the 4 still living and well. And she saved some cards she received, among them is a birthday card from them signed "Love Grandma and Grandpa." See, and it's lovely to have little mementos like that, because it's like being able to connect to the past.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. You can. When I think of my granddad Reed, I've got a photograph of Colin and I with Gran and Grandad Reed, and my Granny Reed has got this faux animal print coat on, and she thought she looked the bee's knees in this coat, and she saved up a long time for it, and it was her pride and joy. Awful thing. But she loved it, and she wore it for my uncle's wedding, and my granddad's there in his suit, and I look at my granddad and I can smell his feet. When he had the soles of his feet burnt off in Malta. The harbour was bombed, and the tarmac of the runway, the airfield, they were protecting the harbour and the airfield, and the airfield got bombed. Sorry, and the tarmac melted the soles off his shoes and his feet. From then on, his feet smelt like overripe parmesan. And I just have to see a photograph of them or think of them, and I get that whiff. Because she walked into the house and all you could smell was my granddad's feet.
Oh, that poor guy.
He rarely talked about it. I know he served at Monte Cassino. I know he served a long time at Malta. Yeah, he very battle scarred when he got back, but wouldn't really talk about it.
We found some old photos this week. Somebody has put a website on, well, a page on Facebook called Hailing Now and Then, or Then Now, or whatever, and people have been sharing old photos.
Right.
And somebody shared a photo of all my old primary school teachers.
Right.
And oh my God, I was like, oh wow. And then it made me go and have a look, and I found some ones of my nans, and I was sharing them with my brother and sister and stuff. It's lovely to be nostalgic like that, isn't it?
It is.
Love it. Oh, what you typing?
I was just looking to see if I could find any gifts of Ulverston near where I live, because obviously Stan was born there, and there's nothing.
No, there won't be.
There's nothing exciting like that. I mean, there's lots of Stan, or people being Stan. That's the good one of Coogan being Stan, actually.
Oh yeah.
With the trick with the hat.
Yeah. Caitlin was doing it.
It's a bit like Eric and Ernie, and Eric with the paper bag.
Yeah. My dad can do that. I can't do it.
I can never do it. I love that clip where they're in their flat and the police van goes past at speed, and he just looks out the window. He's not going to sell any ice cream going that fast, and it's just that kind of silly throwaway that I love. Malcolm and Will.
Here we go. Hang on. Let me share this with you. Let me share this. Share screen. Chrome tab. That one. Share. I'm getting a pro at this now. Can you see that?
Oh.
Right. So that was the head teacher, Mr. Harrison.
Right.
Mr. Turrell. Now, he was a brilliant teacher. He used to have us in a circle doing our times tables. And this one, Mrs. Gates, she was my favourite. How, like, 1970s, 1980s is that?
Well, and all the ladies in skirts and no trousers.
That's yeah.
Telling, isn't it?
I mean, this page is just amazing. Everyone's put on there. Oh, look at all these people from school. And that was Mr. Colin Sayers. He was all our favourite teacher. And it's just really nostalgic. It's got thousands and thousands and thousands of people have joined the page.
That's sweet, don't you think?
Yeah, this one, right? This stole. My brother made one of those in woodwork at school as well. I love it. And there's stuff from the war and also it's brilliant. I love that page.
Sorry, I'm about to smack Mocha's head in if she does that again. She keeps wandering over. She's had a face bath. She's been for a drink, so she's sopping wet.
Nice.
And then she slops her face on my hand. Well, I've got hold of the mouse. So twice now she's binned me out of Facebook. She's managed to separate the two windows so that they're in different browsers, and I'm going to have to drag them back into the same one.
So she's more technically minded than me.
Oh, honestly, she's a nightmare. And it's because, do you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's coming up to 8:30 and they'd like me to naff off the bed.
Sounds about right.
And it isn't that they want feeding. They've got food. Coco's having a quick snackette now because, tied her over for a few hours. But the other one's just in bed and she just wants me to switch the laptop off and get out of their living room.
Well, you're disturbing her routine. I mean, come on.
The thing is, if I haven't got any lights switched on, there's only the light from the laptop. So if I switch the laptop off when we're finished and put the telly on but no lights, they'll just go to sleep.
That's funny.
And they won't bother. And then I'll have to sneak out with the phone torch.
Yeah, so you don't fall over.
To get upstairs in my own house.
Do you think it's because you're talking?
It could be that. Could be that. I'm going to talk to myself all day.
It's the only way you get a sensible answer sometimes.
Yeah, it's more worrying when I talk to inanimate objects and they answer me back. That's more of a...
that is a little concerning.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go to bed and read my book in a minute.
Are you still on The Witcher?
Number 2.
All right. Is it good? I've not read that one yet.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I should say listen to, because I'm listening to mine.
So there was I think it's less stories, whereas the first one was a lot of really short stories.
Right.
This one is it's only about 4 or 5, so they're slightly longer.
Right.
And he's been with on an adventure with Yennefer, and he's been on adventures with Dandelion, and then there's, because I don't know what's in the series, I haven't seen it, but there's a thing about a golden dragon.
Yeah, that's in the first series.
That's in the first series, yeah. So that's where the first story starts, with this golden dragon.
It's quite a clever story, that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's really good. So I'm probably about a third of the way through this second book.
That's good.
I've got the first. So I've read the first one, and now I'm on the second one, and they're the short story things, aren't they? And then I've got the first 3 novels.
Right.
So I don't think I'll run out of reading material anytime soon.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. My brother's got the first one as well now. He's bought that.
You've set him up on the series, have you?
Well, he's really into fantasy as well, like me. I remember when we were growing up, how
has he not heard of it?
I know. I honestly do not know how he'd never heard of The Witcher. Honestly, it's really up his alley. He always used to read these, but obviously he read The Lord of the Rings, goodness knows how many times. And he used to read these Legend of Drizzt books or something. One was called The Crystal Shard and stuff like that. And I always used to like the look of them because they had elves and dwarves and things on the covers. And I said to him today, he said he was going to go through some of his old books. And I said, oh, can I borrow that? Because I remember those books, but I don't really remember them, if you know what I mean. And I'd like to reread them. So
Mm.
I was like, oh, can I borrow them? I said, I used to steal them off your bedside table. And he never noticed. So
Oh.
he'd have them on the table, and I'd like go in and steal one and read it and put it back, and he never even noticed.
Oh.
Boys, eh?
No, my brother wouldn't notice either.
No. So yeah,
Not that he was one for books particularly, but
my
he's
brother and I are real.
very dyslexic. So it was only when he got into Lord of the Rings and things like that that he finally read them. And he read the um, David Gemmell's books about Trust the Legend and things like that.
Has he ever found an overlay that works for him?
I don't know, to be honest. Jake's found a few that have helped him.
Mm.
And yellow paper does seem to help quite a bit.
I never forget the first time I had a child in my class that it worked for, and he would really struggle to read, really struggle. And we tried a few, because they're only like the size of the ruler, aren't they?
Mm.
Tried a few different coloured ones, and he's still struggling. And then I put this one colour on, and he read like that straight through it. You've never seen anything like it. And his face, he was nearly in tears.
I know. It's a bit that it was Educating Yorkshire that was on.
Yeah, I love Educating Yorkshire.
With the boy with the speech
Stammer.
impediment. Yeah.
Oh, that had me in tears.
Yeah. I sobbed my heart out. I try and avoid things like that because they do make me cry. But yeah,
That
it was
anger.
lovely to see him just do that and
Oh,
so well.
incredible. Absolutely
Such a
incredible.
sweet kid.
That English teacher, he's a head teacher now.
Oh,
He's
good for him.
recently
Good
been
for him.
talking about all this whole, you know. Did I tell you I volunteered? I did, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
Well, I've been reading about it actually, and the government's great plan is that obviously there's a gap, isn't there, between the socioeconomic
Mm-hmm.
group, all the rest of it, and they're worried that the gap's going to be widening and all the rest of it because affluent parents will be spending this time educating their children and doing this, that, and the other, and the others won't be, blah blah blah. So their response is that they're going to run summer schools to try and close the gap.
Right.
And the summer schools are going to be run by people who aren't teaching, like me, retired teachers, and student teachers on a voluntary basis.
Oh, good grief.
And it angers me, not so much for the likes of me who could give my time, that's not a problem, but those students shouldn't be taken advantage of like that.
No.
You know, they're racking up thousands of pounds of debt and they're being asked to go in on a voluntary basis. They should at least pay something towards their tuition or something.
No. It's unnecessary, isn't it?
It's just wrong. It really is. So, but I won't be doing it. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be doing it on a voluntary basis because I think that it's a bit like the whole free knitting pattern argument. If you do it, you kind of devaluing other people's work.
Yeah, I don't do anything free.
And there are a lot of people out there who are supply teachers and aren't earning anything at the moment, and they're in dire straits. Why can't they be employed to do it? They would jump at the chance of being able to earn again.
Of course they would.
So why should I go and do it for free and deprive somebody of a job?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I look at it. It's not that I don't want to give my time for free. I just feel like I'd be doing somebody else out of a living.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
So
don't blame you. Right, well, I think it's time to say good night and thank you, everyone. And Rita, lovely to see you. Yvonne, Helen, great to catch up with everybody.
is Helen feeling better? She didn't say how she's doing, did she?
No, she didn't. I'm hoping she's feeling better because hopefully at least nobody's waking her up at sort of 4 a.m. to check her blood pressure and
Yeah, that's
all
not
of that really daft stuff like they do at the hospital. But
so have a good birthday, Yvonne.
yeah, have a lovely time.
And nice to see Rita as well.
Here's Emma getting ready for bed.
Oh yeah, I'm going straight now. I tell you. read my book for 10 minutes just to wind down, and then I'll be off. I'll be off to sleep already before 9 o'clock. You can bet. I've been up since 5.
Oh, I don't know. Is it more like this?
No, definitely not. That's far too energetic.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know if that's a bit weird now.
that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We'll just pretend that one wasn't there.
Well, oh well, we'll see you all next time, and thank you everybody for watching. And
Doodles.
what day is it? Thursday? Are we on Saturday or are we on Sunday?
Sunday, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we did Sunday last week. No, no strain fix stop for that, and we'll